Hi everybody, it's Casey. How are you today? We're coming to you live because we're going to teach you how to make a canvas look like wood in case you don't have any wood or you don't have any wood stain that you like. And so we're going to show you how to do that. We're actually in my home studio today. Our actual studio is being cleaned, and plus we like to do it here sometimes if it's quiet, if we don't get deliveries here, because I have deliveries here too, not just the studio. But Lindsay and I were just talking, and Lindsay is recording, and we were just talking about how this is where it all started. If you listen to our story about how this really began about 4.5 years ago, even though I went to school for the arts years and years ago, that this all started when my son was battling an illness, and he had masses through his spine. And so everything started here and just kept going from there. And so Lindsay, this is actually, she may be able to pan around. Don't look at it like I have dead plants in the living room, not keeping up well. But this is like, we have a pool table here. We extended it clear to the wall where we put like a ping pong table on top of it. And then we put another table with wood and we extended to the wall. We used to put 15 people in here. And then we had people at the bar. It was crazy. Like, it was so packed. There was paint on every single thing in here. I have another studio off to the side. She can't go in there because that has a lot, like every supply known to man in there to create whatever you want. And then I have another like side studio right here where I paint, and I also have an office desk in there as well because I paint and work at the same time all the time. I look very tired today because I started painting at like 11 something last night, and I knew I shouldn't have, and I stayed up like forever. And then I got up at the crack of dawn and was working on another painting. So dark eyes, not a lot of sleep, second day of kids' school, so up making breakfast early, and so it's a busy day. So do we have anybody on, Lindsay? She's
JC
laughing.
is on.
Oh, hi, JC. How are you?
Tammy Jo Mullen.
Oh, hi, Tammy Jo. How are you?
Sue Keeley.
Hi, Sue. So nice seeing you the other day. Everybody did so good. I'm so glad your fundraiser turned out so well. You guys did a great job.
Kara Ordway.
Oh, hi, Kara. Thanks for joining us.
And Kathy Dumas.
Hi, Kathy. Thanks for joining us today. So if you're out of state, which some of you are, and you can tell us where you are as well when you say hello. We're about 45 minutes north of Pittsburgh. Today we have a dreary day. Like, it's looks like, yeah, Lindsay was out walking in this today, and she said it's really humid out, but it's not that hot. It's only like 80 degrees. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to show you how to create wood on canvas. Like, a lot of people don't have pallets like this, or they're not able to get them right now because there's a shortage of wood with the whole COVID thing. And Lindsay just had a light fall. But we always have something happen, you know, we always do. But Chris DeVivo says that. He was like, with you guys, it's something every day. But that's us.
We entertain our audience.
Yeah, we're entertaining. But so I love to paint on wood pallets. I have like the one with the 3 boards. I have the one with the 4 boards. We actually have an Amish manufacturer here, and we stay ahead of it. We always have wood on hand. Knock on wood. We always have wood on hand. And then I stain this like an espresso color because I like the contrast when I'm putting things on it. But if you look here, like, this is a painting that we created. I created for Dunkin' Donuts corporate, and they own a lot of Dunkin' Donuts around here, and they get together and do like team nights where we do team building and we create paintings together. And so this is one of the ones I did for them, and then we ended up having classes on it. It has real coffee beans on it. It's been dropped like 500 times, so like there's a few beans missing, but initially this smells really good. But I'll show you how to create the wood based on like this painting here, so you can do it at home when you want to create a really nice wood background on your canvas. The thing that I did first, let me put this down. The thing that I did first is I gessoed this with 2 coats of black. You can get away with probably 1. Gesso is a very thin black paint, and you can see that like if you're in our memberships or our Facebook groups, we have links that show the products that we use, and this black gesso is one of them. And I even use it instead of using a medium based or heavy based black acrylic paint too. I'll use gesso. It dries really fast. Sometimes you need 2 coats, but we did this with 2 coats with a foam brush. Okay, when I'm making making the wood, I use like a 1/2 inch flat brush, okay, just like this. But you can use any size. I don't give numbers of brushes because I always feel like people can use whatever brush makes them the most comfortable. And so this is a 1/2 inch. You can also use, what's nice is like an angle brush, so you can use that as well. This is an inch or 3/4 of an inch angle brush. Is anybody else on, Lindsay? She's like, she laughs over there the whole time.
Well, I was checking the quality, so I was texting JC to see if the sound was okay.
Oh, are
and
we
video,
good?
She said it looks perfect.
We're good. Okay,
We
great.
do have a bunch of people jumping on.
Oh,
Lily, CK Grant, Sandy, Straylau. Sorry if I completely butchered.
Thank you so much for
name,
joining us, guys.
but
Thank you.
Very, very cool that they're all jumping on.
Wonderful. Okay. And if I'm a little shaky, those of you who know me, I have an extensive spinal cord injury from here to here. And so I had my arm up all day yesterday, probably for days on end,
You have.
which I'm not supposed to, and all the time. And then I started with it up this morning. So if I'm a little shaky, just don't mind me. I've been using my arms too much. But what I have on my plate, what I like to use for wood colors is I have the black gesso, I have white, I have a raw sienna, which is like a tan color. I have a Van Dyke brown, which Lindsay always gives us the background story on why it's called Van Dyke brown. Then we can't remember the name of the person. What's his name again? Lindsay.
Anthony. It's Anthony or William.
Okay, and then we have a bird sienna here too. You don't have to use the bird sienna, but I have a touch of it here in this wood, so I just wanted to show you that as well. So what I'm going to talk about is when I use the paints, I always pull the paint off to the side. I never work in a large palette paint because it's easier to add paint to your canvas than it is to take it off, okay? Also, if you do something to your canvas that you don't like, it's much quicker and easier than blow drying and covering up and painting over it. Take your paint cloth, wet it, the corner of it, and wipe it off, okay? Sometimes just smudging things out with your finger works as well, okay? So I'm gonna wet my brush. Anytime you use a new brush, you wanna wet it, tap it off on your paint towel. I'm gonna pull out, let's see, I'm gonna pull out, you can see I was using these paints already. I'm gonna pull out a little bit of the Van Dyke brown. I'm gonna put one corner into the raw sienna, okay? I'm gonna put another corner into the white, okay? I'm gonna like take a guess at to where my board is, and so I'm gonna start mine. I'm gonna use the brush the skinny way up and down, okay? So I'm gonna use it vertically, and so I'm gonna start my marks, and I'm gonna go very soft touch, lifting, and then you can go to the wide part of your brush after this, but you don't want to blend everything out. You want to let some black show through. You want to get some white highlights in there as well. Then every time you can grab a different amount of each color. So I'm going to get a little bit of white. Sometimes I tap the white off on my plate before I actually put it on here as well. I like to have a little bit of a white highlight near the edge. And this is a very light touch. What's important about painting too is learning how much pressure to apply on your brush. Also learning to lift off. When you lift off your pressure, you're gonna get a feathered mark. But if you press hard and pull off, you're gonna get a stop mark, and you'll see everywhere that you stopped, okay? Lindsay, can you see, okay?
Yep.
And then, so say you want make it look like the light's hitting here. That's what I'm gonna show you first is a little bit darker or lighter wood. I can't talk. I told you I didn't sleep. So I'm gonna let some black show through. I'm gonna have some bright areas. I'm gonna take it about 3/4 of the way down because I'm gonna pull the foreground out in front of it, okay? Guess what we're coming on to show you tomorrow? We decided today. We're gonna come on and show you how to create sunflowers. So if you would like to put together your own sunflower painting, you will know how to create sunflowers. So we're gonna do that tomorrow. I think I might do it on wood, but you can also do it on canvas. I love to paint on wood. We've done a lot of classes on wood in the last year, huh, Lindsay?
We have.
So I am putting a little bit of tan on my brush. See, I'm turning my brush both ways. I'm using the skinny part, I'm using the wide part, but when I start out, I use the skinny part, okay, tiny bit. And then what I'll do too is I'll come back and I'll put some black back in too. So a lot of people when they're making wood lose their black. And I tend not to wash my brush too much either. So if I can wipe it off on my paint towel, I will. So I'm gonna just touch it here and there with some black also. Lindsay, you're quiet over there.
Well, I got a little nervous because the sound was low, but I figured it out.
Okay, good. Can they hear us?
They can hear us.
Okay,
Yes.
good. So I'm going to put some, some black back in there. There's a glare on this for me, so I can't really see well how good this is looking. I have to stand back and get close to you, I think. The sun just came out, of course, after we set up the lighting. So, but yeah, it's funny that Lindsay and I were talking about how this is where everything started, and it really wasn't that long ago. And now, like, we've taught thousands of painters to paint, like thousands. I want to put this black back in here that I lost. And if you go to our studio page, which is KCK Creations on Facebook, you will see that we have over 50,000 pictures of our painters, and we're always so excited. Our painters are so happy to. We've never heard someone say they're going to throw their painting in the garbage. Like, they're excited that they can take a painting home and hang it on their wall. And my job is to teach you every little step, not just by showing you with a paintbrush, but we also show you, like, we draw it out and we use our words, and we try to make things as simple as possible. That's a little wonky line, but that's okay. I can't really see with the way the light's hitting it. Did you try to adjust that for me? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my browns again. I'm going to put a little bit of white on the edge, not too much. And I'm going to leave like a little black line in there. Like, I want to make it look like there's, it's a plank, you know, like it's separated there. See how lightly I'm touching the canvas? Can you see that, Lindsay?
Yes.
Okay. Very lightly. I'm going to go back and grab some more color. You can even grab, is the color showing up okay with the way the light is? Okay. Yep. I'm going to grab a little bit of that burnt sienna too, and I think I want to add some. You can just lightly brush it in. I'm going to add some to this. I actually love making wood. Lindsay, you like making wood?
Yes, it's, I don't know, it's just such a delicate dance. You like go a little of the dark and the light and the dark, and then you sometimes, like you said, have to stand back and look at it.
Yeah, you have to stand, especially when the light hits us and I can't see it at all.
What size is your canvas?
Okay, I'm working on a 10 by 20, and we use that size canvas a lot. So our standard canvases that we keep in stock, 10 by 20 is one, and sometimes when that starts getting too light, just pull out a little bit of dark brown and black, and then get that a little darker on your brush. Okay, make sure you're leaving some of the black show through. That's one thing that sometimes people struggle with whenever they're making the wood, is letting some of the black show through. So this is a little bit lighter plank, and then I'm gonna go back through and highlight and make some darker too, okay? And the side lines don't have to be so straight, because wood isn't always perfectly straight either. You know, like if you look at boards on a fence, it's not always straight, but we use 10 by 20s. We use 12 by 16s a lot. We use, I'm going to put some black back in here because I lost a lot of it. We don't use 11 by 14 too often, I have to say. Sometimes in our art camps we do.
The ones you have recently done,
they're
the
huge.
Pumpkin,
yeah,
that is the painting of the month, is on a 12 by
It's
24?
on a 12 by 24, yeah, and we use 16 by 20 also. I've been painting on larger canvases for some of our newer classes. So yeah, we didn't bring the pumpkins painting here today, but in my home studio. But if you check it out at kckhq.com, you're gonna see it's the painting of the month for August. But what I talked to our team about is the people that sign up in the next 24 hours for the painting of the month, which the gnome starts tomorrow. So I'm not always going to pick a gnome, but this gnome, I love sunflowers. So I picked this gnome. I choose my favorite painting for each month. We started these classes already in our studio. They're coming out beautifully. So you will get the pumpkins painting and the gnome instead of just one painting in the month. So I'm excited about that. This starts tomorrow, be dropped in. So we're excited about that. Also, we filmed, oh, I dropped it again. We filmed the horse painting, and I love this. We filmed this yesterday. I created this in like 30 minutes one day on a whim because I needed to decompress. That's how I decompress, as I paint. And generally not my style. We have a couple other really colorful things like the lion and the elephant and things like that, but we did recreate this yesterday. You can use any colors you like for this as long as you have like some warms, you have some, you know, lights and darks, and it came out really cool, huh, Lindsay?
It did.
We wish we would have did a time lapse on it. She ran her finger over the film. I was like, oh my goodness, that looks so cool. So, and the sunflower palette that you see is in our headquarters monthly membership where you get the 5 paintings a month. That's in there as well if you're interested in that. But all of that will be going into our store here soon online also. Anybody have any questions? I know it's delayed for us to see it, but anybody have any questions so far?
It was about the canvas sizes and just a bunch of people jumping on saying that's beautiful.
Oh, thank you. We're happy to see you. Yeah, we're gonna jump on with different, like on the site here, on this Facebook page. We'll be jumping on quite often with tips and tricks for painting, so you can create beautiful paintings at home with these, these tips and tricks too. See, my arm is shaky. I've had it up like way too much. Although I've enjoyed painting so much lately. Oh, you know what someone told me yesterday, Lindsay? So I created I'm used to my water being over here. I created a painting that's not here with me, of course, that has the watering can. Like, Lindsay was asking me for a watering can forever. And so I finally created one. And someone wrote me and said, we should have done that on wood. Lindsay, that would be gorgeous on wood because it really pops on the black canvas. And so I think we're going to have to make one on wood. Or something similar.
Yeah.
With the sunflowers. That painting's going to be coming as well as a virtual class. All the new samples that I'm creating will eventually get filmed and put in as a new class. If you're new to us, we have hundreds of paintings to choose from in our studio, but not everyone's filmed. We filmed when COVID hit and there was a shutdown last year, and we probably did about a little over a dozen of them, and we've already done probably about 10 more, but we're in the middle of editing everything, getting it ready for you to make it virtual for you. So they will get there.
A question, how much is the membership?
Okay, so the Painting of the Month membership is $20, okay? And you'll get the pumpkins painting. It's gorgeous. You'll have to look online. It's my favorite painting of actually the year, and it's a long panel. It's a pumpkins painting. It has like 5 pumpkins on it. It's gorgeous. And some palette painting.
It has 7 pumpkins on it.
Oh, sorry. Lindsay draws them all. So we were supposed to have that over here, but... And then you're going to get the gnome painting. That'll be dropped in by tomorrow. You'll get the virtual tutorial. You get the supplies list. You'll get the stencils. You also get our private Facebook community. You'll be put into a private Facebook group where I come on and you have the whole business end too. Like, we did so many films to teach you how we went from our home studio to a 13,000 square foot dream studio in just over 4 years. So that's all in there on the back end as well, like the back end of the business. Because to grow the business, you need to know about the business end of it, not just the painting end of it. And you'll be able to license our paintings. So the one that you get the 5 paintings a month is called the headquarters membership. That one's $49 a month. You can cancel any of the memberships anytime too. Like, if you like this set this month, you can stay in and drop it next month, and then you can rejoin again. And so that one's $49. This one for the painting of the month, where I select my favorite painting every month, is $20, but you'll get 2 this month instead of 1.
It's a bonus.
Yeah, and then we're also doing things too. Oh, and as a member, you get 50% off every tutorial that's on our site. So that's nice too. Like, we just put up that, I told Chris I wanted to do the Starry Night for $10, just so people that don't know us get to know how we paint and how we teach. And so we put it up there, but our members got it for $5.
Yeah.
So that was nice. We had a lot of members get it yesterday. And that's a fun painting too. And you can use texture with that painting. I used texture with it when I used it. So I would go back and I'd look at this, like the sun is going in, and I could see that I want like some highlights in my wood I could not see before, so I'm like painting blind. I remember in our studio at the Crane Room, our first retail space, when the light would hit a certain way, like, we all couldn't see what we were teaching, so we really had to know what we're doing. You can always go through this with the wood too, and you can take a script liner brush or a very fine round brush. This is a script liner brush. It has long bristles on the ends. You always need to, I'm gonna put this in my water. When you use this, I pull my paint off to the side, like I'll pull my black off to the side. I always create a side pile. I never work in a large pile of paint. But I pull it off to the side and I put water into it 3 times, and then I roll it to its side, okay? And then what you can do is you can make a fine line. You kind of have to stand right in front of it though. Can you see? Mm-hmm. You can make a fine line, and I don't have my glasses on either, so I'm kind of blind with this. You can make a finer line inside there. If you lost your black, which a lot of people do when they're creating wood, you can go back in. I'm gonna stand like right in front of it, Lindsay. Is that okay to see?
Yeah, you're fine.
Okay. And so you can put in a little bit, like, I don't want that perfectly straight because when you look at, you look at wood, a lot of times it's not, but you can make that perfectly straight. If you're gonna do that, I would use a flat brush and run it down through the middle of there, okay? So I'm also gonna show you, I'm not gonna go the whole way across here, but what you would do to start, like, to make a foreground here is you would just take your flat brush and you would come like right across here and make a line right across here with your black, okay? You generally will wait for this black to dry, which gesso's really fast. Okay, look how shaky I am today, Lindsay. Look at my line. It's bumpy.
Yeah.
It's all right. I won't be painting for the next couple of hours. I don't know. I'm able to withstand a lot more recently with this spinal cord injury, don't you think?
You've been doing fantastic.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I'm loving it though. I love to paint. Like, it's almost like.
Well, and that's what someone just said. It's I lost the comment. I love painting, not very good at it, but it relieves my stress so much.
It does mine too. And that's how, whenever I got back into, I went to school for the arts years and years ago, like 30 years ago. That's a long time ago. But when I got back into it is because of my stress. When my son was battling his illness, I started sketching people's children to thank them for helping us. And that's how it all began. And I started posting it and people started sharing it. And then a friend of mine worked in a private school, asked me to go and teach her children in the school, posted that. Other people, other teachers saw it, asked me to go and teach in their schools. And then I had children, parents that wanted me to teach their children, and it all started right here with the children. And then we started having like children's groups, private parties with adults, and the children, like, we had a wait list within a month of like 30 some kids. So that's when I went and asked a local church if I could lease space from them, and it just went from there. It just went crazy. Within months we were having classes of 100 people. 100 people. It was like nuts. Huh?
Yes, and I can tell you, I tell everybody who comes into the studio, and I always say it's not because I work there, but because I started as a painter.
She did. She was one of the ones at the church.
I was,
Yeah.
and I've been to other places to paint, and Casey has such a gift at breaking something that looks really challenging down into easy steps.
Thank you.
And everybody's turns out wonderful.
Thank you. Well, the other thing is the environment. All of our team members are so kind. We lift each other up. Our painters lift us up. We lift them up. If I feel horrible and my back's killing me that day, when I get in that studio, I feel better. And everybody says that. It's a really good environment. And I hope that I will bring that to you at home too. And we truly love what we do. Like, truly love it. But I met Lindsay painting in one of my classes. She had surgery on her knee and she was starting taking my classes. That's how I met her. And we've been working together ever since. It's fantastic. She's actually a school administrator. She was a teacher before that. So she's great teaching in classes too. Now we have her videotaping also. She does a little bit of everything. So what I'm going to do is, anytime you want to make something look further away, it's a little darker. As it comes closer to you, it's a little bit brighter. So you can see the wood back here is a little bit darker on my crooked line. Generally, I'm pretty good about lines, but I don't really like to paint straight lines a lot. How, Lindsay?
No, because I always show her all kinds of paintings I want to do, and she'll say, that's a straight line.
Yeah, I don't. This is why, Heather Walzer, if you're watching, whenever she commissioned me to do her 3 children to paint them, and they were all in different sports. One was a swimmer, one was baseball, and one was basketball court. No problem painting all the kids. And then the basketball court drove me crazy. Like, I had to keep doing the lines over and over again. I'm like, oh my goodness. So I try to stay away from, that's a little bit too bright there. I try to stay away from from straight lines. I don't like them.
Yeah, I'm not so good at making wheels.
Oh yeah, Lindsay, when she has to make wheels, like, we have a lot of red truck paintings. Well, they're not all red. They're aqua and they're different colors. Her, and with a VW Bug too, they're wonky. They're like,
I got flat tires.
They're like, I'm gonna spill my water. So yeah, but she gets flat tires. She always says that. That's too funny. You're not the only one though. That's easy to happen, I think. So what I'm doing is I'm gonna probably get a little bit brighter as I come up. My pressure is very light, guys, as you can see, like very light. I'm using the side of the brush a lot. I'm gonna have to add a little bit of water in this, and I wanna get more brown than the tan in here. I don't like it so far. I need to Get a little bit more brown in there. I always let some of the black show through. I talk about in my classes always having contrast. Don't ever fill in anything all one shade unless you're doing a silhouette. And still, I need to put highlights on the silhouette. But you want to have lights and you want to have darks with everything that you do, and some medium tones in there. And that's going to make it look three-dimensional, where if you're color blocking things in, then it's going to look flat. You will see a huge difference in your painting when you start looking for the light. Lindsay always says she can't see the light, and so, but she has such great contrast in her paintings, but she can't see the light. So I always say, like, I'm standing here, the light's hitting you here, 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 and I look for the light to highlight it, but she doesn't. After all this time with me, she said she still looks, she can't see it, but there are other people that relate to Lindsay. So if you can't see the light, make sure that you just have a lot of contrast. Most of the time when I have a dark, I have a light by it, you know. This is where my line's all bumpy. Also, when you're working on a painting, make sure you pull your painting out of the easel and you're working, like, you pull this out and put it on the lip. This will fall if I do that. Put it on the lip of your easel, and then that way you get that last, like, 1/4 of an inch there, okay? Because it'll look unfinished. A lot of times too, I paint the sides of my painting, like I'll wrap stuff around to the sides. But when I have a black painting, like a black canvas to start, I don't do that because I feel like it looks finished anyway with the black there. But when it's a white canvas, I feel like I always want to, like, pull it around to the sides. If you watch that closely, what you'll see is when I'm using my brush, I'm lifting off. I'm not pressing hard at all, and I can show you why. Let me just, you know, wreck this canvas real quick. So when you push like this and you pull off, you're going to see exactly where you stopped at, okay? But if you very lightly go like this, it's going to feather out on the ends. Do you see that? So you want a very light touch. Sometimes that's something, like, it takes, like, you'll see, like, it's very prominent, where if you're going like this very lightly, it's going to feather, okay? Sometimes in the beginning, that's the hardest thing for someone to learn, is that light touch. I know Chrissy always said that when she first started painting, is heavy hand. So I always talk to people about that quite a bit in my class, about lifting off, lifting off, lifting off. So Kathy, if you're watching, she's one of the people that tells me it's burned into her brain the whole time she's painting. She's going lift off, lift off, lift off in her head. So I'm always saying that in our classes, because it makes a huge difference. Like when we're making this cup, you're lifting off. You can see that's all feathered. If you're doing wording and you're not using a Cricut, you're lifting off and making sure that you're not pressing hard. Sometimes I do press a little harder, like when I need to make a nice fine edge. If I'm going around something I need to study. The other tip that I want to talk to you about really quick whenever you're painting, if you have a little bit of a tremor, because it's not unusual. I mean, we teach every single day, and a lot of people have essential tremors. We have people that have Parkinson's. We have people that are just shaky. I get shaky with my back depending on how much I use my arms. And essential tremors actually runs in my family. My daughter has it, my father has it as well. If you anchor your hand on a dry part of the canvas, you hold your brush more like a pencil, but kind of squeeze it with your pointer finger and your thumb, and then you just drag that portion, you can steady your hand. We see it all the time. We have physicians around here that send Parkinson's patients to us, and they at first are very apprehensive because they're like, I'm so shaky, I can't even write my name with a pencil or a pen. And then they become very comfortable, and they come back again. So you practice that. Sometimes you have to turn your canvas to be able to rest your hand on a dry part of it. But that's okay. I've done that myself, you know, when I've had to as well. But it's squeezing it a little bit, because you have to apply a little bit of pressure to steady when you're really shaky as well sometimes. And then sometimes when you feel less shaky, then you can go a little bit looser. But rest your pinky, anchor your hand, okay? So I think that's all we wanted to go over today. If you do want to look at some of our other paintings, you can go to KCK Creations. I know we're on HQ right now. Go under photos. You can go under private party options. People select from those paintings too, and then we have a whole other slew of paintings on there. I think there's 50,000 pictures on there now. It's just crazy. And so we're happy to paint with you. You ever have any questions, you want us to look at something you've created, send it to me. I do do that all the time. Like people will be like, what do you think? You know, what do you think I need? And plus we'd love to share your work if you want to show it to us. You create anything that, you know, has wood on canvas, show it to us too. We'd love to see it. We'll be jumping on all the time with tips and tricks on painting tricks. Tomorrow we'll jump on with you and we'll create some sunflowers. We love that. We'll come on at 2 o'clock again. If you can't make it at 2, just come back and watch a replay, okay? And don't forget today, for the painting of the month, you'll get the gnome and the pumpkins. That's exciting. So we can't wait to paint with you again soon. And there's free tutorials on kckhq.com. Link at the top of the page. So if you want to see our painting style and how we teach, there's a few free tutorials on there too, okay? So thank you so much for joining us and have a wonderful day today. Enjoy the rest of your week.